To properly understand and love our country, we must know our country's history. These words were spoken by President George W. Bush in the Rose Garden on September 17, 2002. In 2001, West Virginia Senator Robert Byrd proposed legislation to create a grant opportunity for teachers to improve their American history content knowledge. This opportunity was called the Teaching American History Grant Program. In northeast Nebraska, Project Westward Waters exemplifies this program's purpose. In September of 2002, Educational Service Unit No. 2 was awarded an $845,000 Teaching American History grant. ESU No. 2, with its partner Wayne State College, began a 3-year journey that will forever impact the students and teachers of this great country. Westward Waters was developed to study the 3 primary ideas outlined by President Thomas Jefferson in relationship to the Louisiana Purchase: exploration, Native American peoples, and navigational waterways to the Pacific. This is an overview of Westward Waters' first year, the year of exploration. Project developers wanted more than just a study of the literature of Lewis and Clark. They wanted more than just a discussion of the events of this expedition. What they wanted was for teachers to experience the places of history. 29 teachers were selected through an application process. 3 spring workshops were conducted, including a visit to the Sioux City, Iowa Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center. During these trainings, teachers were provided resources including books, videos, and teacher guides pertaining to the exploration of the Louisiana Territory. In addition to the resources, teachers had the opportunity to meet Hal Stearns, a noted Lewis and Clark expert who would be leading a 10-day summer graduate-level travel course to visit significant locations along the Lewis and Clark Trail. With a wealth of background knowledge through the previous months of study, everyone was eager to see the places they had read about. On July 7, 35 educators from the state of Nebraska began a 10-day experiential learning adventure that would forever change their perspective about American history education.
Like this, and then there was a flat bottom rock.
They visited the Great Falls Interpretive Center, the Giant Springs, as well as stops at 3 of the 4 visible falls. The afternoon concluded with a visit to the Charlie Russell Gallery for a tour of the studio and home of one of the nation's premier Western artists. Later in the day, the bus traveled to Decision Point. Prickly pear, so often mentioned in the journals, was abundant, and a few of the group decided to have a close encounter with some of it. On the bluff overlooking the convergence of the Marias and Missouri rivers, wonderment again ensued as all contemplated the fate of the Corps had they chosen the wrong river to follow. Following a visit to the Montana Ag Museum in Fort Benton, the group was treated to stories and historical accounts of Jack Lepley. A dinner at the historic Grand Union Hotel was followed by a meeting with the canoe outfitters for fitting of life jackets and to pick up gear for the following day. Early on Thursday morning, the group donned their canoe gear, smeared on the sunscreen, and met at the Grand Union Hotel to board the bus for Coal Banks Landing. Hal began the wait with a story about the past meeting the future. As everyone's eyes were closed, Thomas Jefferson appeared and gave the group their directive for the trip. It was goodbye to civilization for 3.5 days. 35 individuals entered the river at Coal Banks Landing on Thursday morning, July 10, 2003, for 3.5 days of rowing, camping, climbing, and storytelling.
And realized that the eye of the needle was broken.
45 miles downriver on Sunday morning, the Corps of Rediscovery exited the river as a single unit, as friends, and more importantly, as a family. After an evening's rest in real beds, the group was up and on the road again on Monday morning. The day included visits to Pishkin Buffalo Jump, the Gates of the Mountain, the Montana Historical Society, and the Montana State Capitol. The following day, the group traveled to the Missouri Headwaters State Park in Three Forks, Montana. Here at the headwaters, state park educators provided instruction and information concerning the region. From there, a quick stop in Whitehall to view the murals, and then on to Beaver's Head Rock in Dillon. Following dinner that evening, a program by Steve Morehouse provided artifacts and information about the Lewis and Clark Corps. Teachers were also given the opportunity to look over Steve's homemade dugout canoe. In the morning, a short visit to Clark's Lookout provided a beautiful vantage of Beaver Head Rock, and then on to Camp Fortunate. After boarding a school bus, the group was transported to the Lemhi Pass. The Continental Divide, where the actual spring that feeds the Missouri River, was discovered there. A visit to the Big Hole battlefield in Hamilton brought the reality of the impact of Lewis and Clark's expedition into view. The fate of the Nez Perce was forever changed following their encounter with the expedition. Thursday, July 17th, brought the group back to where they started in Missoula. A visit to Traveler's Rest, and then on to the Lolo Pass, provided one last encounter with the past. William Clark appeared out of the woods to visit with the group and answer questions. This last encounter brought to a close the tremendous journey of Westward Waters. The group traveled back to Nebraska on Friday morning, July 18th. Arriving back home were people forever changed by the experiences encountered on this Westward Waters journey. From this point forward, every mention of Lewis and Clark will evoke the sights, sounds, smells, and emotions of the 10 days spent together as part of this project. History was brought to life for these teachers. Their classrooms will never look the same. Their lessons will be forever different. Their stories and insight will inspire children to journey forth to discover the people and places of their past. No greater appreciation for the Lewis and Clark expedition could ever be gained through mere reading and classroom study. It was the opportunity of historic travel, expert storytelling, historical artifacts, and community building that will ever place this event in the hearts and minds of each participant. Through their experience, passion for this great nation will endure. Their passion will be reflected in the lessons they have developed and through the sharing of their experiences with their students. Through this sharing, the story will continue.